again and welcome to another edition of Journalist Hangout. It's Boxing Day, so we hope you have been enjoying the day thus far. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. Today on the program, we continue our discussion which we commenced on Monday, that was yesterday. That's on the lingering fuel crisis in the country. Yesterday, we put the issues that pushed us to the edge of the cliff where we are all hanging today. This into perspective and, separated the facts from fiction. It was a bumper edition, of course. In case you missed that, you can log on to www.youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria to watch. The discussion, of course, continues today. We also have Babajide Kolade Ototoju and Tululokwe Ogunjobi, TVC News energy correspondent, and they were our guests yesterday. The question still remains, could we have avoided the mess we are in today? Didn't the NNPC see the fuel crisis coming? Is there a possibility of an increase in fuel price? Journalist Hangout starts now. An American writer, John Steinbeck, famously said, all war is a symptom of man's failure as a thinking animal. The American might have used strong words in his quote, but the logic in his thinking is as true as the fuel crisis in Nigeria today. Perhaps if those on the saddle had thought ahead, the fuel crisis crippling the country could have been avoided. Even when journalists screamed from rooftops, no one seemed to pay any attention. A few weeks to Christmas, Nigeria slipped into a fresh crisis that rubbished government's efforts at cushioning the hardship that millions of Nigerians have had to endure, courtesy of a year that's been riddled with so many difficulties. The people are tired, broke, and hungry. There's frustration everywhere, and the sky is soaked with tension. With their backs on the wall, the people took to social media to rant. Today, things are about to change as the federal government has ordered the waiver of port charges for vessels carrying petrol. NNPC has since commenced 24-hour loading and sales operation. And the independent petrol marketers now say the long queues would soon disappear. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has also, been talking, saying there is no plan to increase the price of fuel. And the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, says there is massive loading of petrol at depots. So this is good news, but why wait until now? Let's begin this way now. Of course, Jude, it's good to have you join us again on the show. Welcome, Tululokwe. Of course, welcome.
Great to be here.
Indeed. Looking at all that we've said yesterday when we introduced the topic and, delved into it and all that, and now, what differences have you recorded from your end?
Yes, I'm saying some filling stations selling fuel, especially the major marketers. Major marketers, mainly, they are the ones who have the product, they are the ones selling. This morning at Diamond Filling Station in Akute, where I live, I bought 30 liters at 200 naira per liter.
As at this morning?
Yes, and I went there with a branded vehicle. The attendant could not be bothered. And I told him, look, I was told that you people sold this product at 170 naira per liter. He said, no, that I had to pay 200 naira per liter. So I went ahead. I gave him 6,000 naira. And I took 30 liters out of the filling station because I can't go and queue up early in the morning. I had my job to do, so I just had to pay. And I know that efforts are being made. The decision to waive port charges is one of the best decisions that have been taken, because what that means is that the clearing of cargo will be faster, and then these vessels can discharge quickly to ease the pains of our people. We've seen clearly that Mekanti Baru and his people didn't plan
at the onset
for this time. We've seen they can no longer argue because even a government official proclaimed, we had it on tape, he said, yes, supply is not enough. But at least what is enough, people should not hoard. That is significant because they didn't do what they should have done. I've seen a document flying around, supposedly from an unnamed NNPC staff, saying that the Minister of State actually demanded that in the third quarter, the stock of petrol should be augmented because he reasoned that at that time we'll have some difficulties with supply and all that. We all know that during winter, demand for refined petrol is greater. People have to heat their rooms and all that. Even outside of Europe and America, even in our continent, if we go to places where there are cold, people would want to warm their rooms and all that, you know. So the truth is, we didn't plan. If we had planned well enough, if we had realized that, look, in December, there's usually a quantum leap in demand for petrol, we will have doubled the supply. And once we doubled the supply, this would not have happened. We didn't have scarcity in December. Nigerians always say, oh, it always happens every year. Of course, that is not true. We've had years in which there was no scarcity in December. 2016, there was no scarcity in December. 2015, there really was no scarcity in December. It was in the course of the first quarter that we started having problems, you know, of scarcity, and Asiwaju was forced to come out and tongue lash Ibeka when he said, look, I'm not a magician, this and that, I'm trying my best to solve the problem. So my own concern as somebody who has supported this government from the beginning is that the Muhammadu Buhari administration should not be signposted by fuel scarcity, because this is not the first time. Last year, in the first quarter of last year, in March especially, we had this problem of fuel scarcity. It lasted for weeks. So this government should not let Nigerians tag it as a government that allows fuel scarcity to go on and on. So that's why our planning should be better in future.
We will still get to the role the president may have played in all this and what one could do from the president. Let's not forget, and thanks for the hints, Jide, that he remains the minister for the substantial minister for petroleum. Yeah, but then Jide's initial remarks still, bear the tale of persistent marginalization or persistent exploitation of the system. While many are recording in Lagos, though, virtually non-existent queues as at this afternoon. But then other parts of the country, other parts of Lagos, okay, fine, okay, Ogun State, neighboring states and all, there's still recorded exploitation. What's to explain for this, Tolu?
Well, like we said yesterday, and I also agree to what Mr. Jide has said, lack of planning was a very, very big issue. And since the NNPC didn't plan, we have to now start all these amendments, all this kind of trying to just make things work. It's just like a makeshift, just trying to make things, just an arrangement. We still have to address the main issues. Now, petroleum supply, moving products, the concentration now is Lagos and Abuja because they want to flood everywhere around the states to make products available and everybody get products. But according to even the IPMAN man that was here yesterday and he spoke to us even on phone, most IPMAN members are yet to get products. They've opened Ejigbo depot according to them, and Ejigbo is loading. At least it could help address some places too, so that everybody don't have to go to Apapa. But the major marketers, we can't ignore them. I keep saying it. Lagos and Ogun State alone, they have more than 900 filling stations. The majors are there, yes. We can't ignore the majors too because they are the big players in this sector. But if we don't have enough supply, because what I still believe now is what is coming in, they want to quickly distribute. Are you sure we still have reserves? So as we are distributing this on the high speed, we are trying to meet up Lagos, meet up everywhere. I should believe that NNPC and whatever arrangement they have, they should also be expecting vessels so that we won't exhaust what we have. And at the end of the day, we go back to square one. Now, bringing private players to bring in products is what NNPC should be looking forward to actually address now. That should be the next step to take. If they bring in private guys, let them have access to funds. Banks are not giving loans anymore.
Even the foreign banks, we understand, are also not...
Letters of credit are not being approved for these guys. So they can't put their monies into this business. We are already in subsidy regime. So all these factors, what NNPC is distributing now is what they brought in. What if we exhaust it? What do we go again from here?
Indeed, but gentlemen, talking about the requests now that IPMAN and have placed to the government as to a special forex regime. I'm wondering, because central bank has already intervened this year now in giving special forex allotments now, which I expect should include importers. Is that not enough?
No, it certainly can't be enough. A government that will give a concessionary forex allocation to people to embark on pilgrimage should be able to provide, give that kind of concession to people who need to bring in products. Less people who are abusing marketers and all that, I sympathize with them because it's the height of ignorance. Now, these are Nigerians like us. They have blood flowing in their veins. A lot of these people brought in products, during the subsidy regime. They have legitimate claims. We have refused to pay a lot of them. Legitimate claims going back to 2016, we have refused to pay. And these guys are walking around. Some of them took money from banks. You didn't pay them. They are walking around. You've destroyed their businesses. And people are out there. You are demonizing them. Nigerians are abusing them. Oh, it's marketers. They are demons. We've come up with a budget for 2018. What these marketers are being owed was not appropriated for, which means we have no plan to pay them. And they've supplied. So if NNPC is actually a serious organization, you should be able to differentiate between dubious marketers and decent marketers, those who do their businesses diligently, and pay those ones who do their businesses diligently. You can't tie everybody with the same brush. They admitted that, yes, that they are owing these guys from way back, but you've not paid them. But it seems convenient for you to go out there and be saying they are the reason behind this scarcity. You are not telling yourself the truth. Oshibajo came yesterday and was referring to demand for refined petrol, especially in Europe and America in the time of winter, which is a way of hinting at the source of our problem.
Exactly.
Because they would have to satisfy...
in the past, and Tolu will bear me with me as somebody who has been the COVID industry
All right,
for
gentlemen,
years.
let's take a quick break now. So many things to discuss. Please hang on. I will be back in a bit.
This is Abdullahi Umar Galuji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. It's still Journalists Hangout, and we are dissecting this latest fuel scarcity situation, hopefully dying down. We hope to get a permanent solution, and that is our mission this evening. Jide Kolade Otitoju and, of course, Ololokbo Ogujobi are still doing a fine job now on this task. Okay, let's continue, because it was Jude was the one that tried making a point earlier. Let's just wrap up that angle now. We were discussing during the break as to the existence planning now. How plans seem to make a difference from last year Christmas to this point in time.
Yes, sometimes when you don't plan, you'll be punished. Naturally, demand is usually high in December for petroleum products, not just within our country, but even outside our country. I mean, for refined petrol. So we should have tried to stock our depots, our tank farms with sufficient quantity of petrol, knowing that demand will peak in December. So it shouldn't be at the last minute that we'll now be looking for vessels on the high seas that will buy more or less like black market to quickly bring into our country. Because other people too are interested in refined fuel to heat up their rooms and all that. So if it was in the middle of the year, for example, it would be easy to easily divert some of those vessels into the country and quickly buy from those international market. And we always do it anytime we are confronted by crisis. But it's a bit difficult at this time of the year, because even those marketers have eyes on other places. They have demands to meet up in other countries and all that, because demand for refined petrol is usually high in winter. So, and that's what the vice president talked about a little bit. He's a smart man. Without directly indicting the government, he tried to explain to Nigerians here in Lagos that, look, this is the problem. So anybody who can put two and two together will know that the vice president has situated the source of the problem
elsewhere.
Yes. So, but what lessons do we learn from this? We must plan. This must not happen again. This government must not give itself a bad name as a government that allows fuel scarcity to happen every year. Because people will remember that the first quarter of last year, we had this problem. It lingered for weeks until Asiwaju now had to attack Kachiku. Now we've had it again in 2017. So it shouldn't go on like that.
I even want you to address this issue now, because as rightly pointed out, the government, has been grappling with this issue, even though it vowed that we wouldn't record any of this at all. And let's not even forget that the current price template now of buying petrol wasn't even the price that the Buhari administration met on ground. Yeah. So tell us about, the sustainability now of this current price template.
All right, great. I want to start with the issue of Forex, which is very important for bringing in this product. Okay. For a country that has multiple Forex windows, we have the I&E window, we have for pilgrimage, just like you identified earlier, we have for different sectors, for SMEs, we have for, I don't see a reason why. I knew there was a time there was one for some importers, but maybe it's for major marketers. But I think maybe the independent marketers should also be carried along in that window. Genuine marketers. That would also help us address it. Now, issues around the pricing. There have been issues, pricing of petroleum products at the moment, because we don't refine, we don't control it. We don't refine. All we just do is crude oil, and we send abroad, and we bring in refined products. So when we started early in the year, we touched this a little bit yesterday, but we need to still talk more about it so people can understand. Even when the Buhari administration came in, the crude oil per barrel was less than $40. At the point, it was even less than 30. So it was cool for us to bring in product. Landing cost was very low. Okay. But now we are doing well. Our budget is even predicated on $45 per barrel, 2.2 million barrels per day. Now we are doing 64, 65. So we are making more money. So where is that money going to? The excess crude account. We are saving some money there. So why don't we use this money to also try and...
Okay, the excess money that we're recording.
One way or the other, that is on one side. Now that crude is high, clearly as at the time crude was 58, 59, landing cost had exceeded what it was before. And clearly the importers had to pull out finally, because few of them were still doing the business, trying to run the business. They were giving them that dollar at some point, so they were still trying to run the business. Because we still know that NNPC cannot satisfy us. Let us be realistic. So what we need to do now is create, if it's going to create another Forex window, fine, for genuine importers, and put it in that way, so that it's not going to be, because they say people take advantage of it, they get the Forex and divert for other things. So I think they should monitor that. So that when the genuine importers come, they get the funds and they bring in the products, and we confirm that these products come in. But aside that too, this crude oil price is on the high side. All these things, they have positives and negatives. We are enjoying the positives, more funds for government. So we should be ready too. So paying subsidy on one way, government is going to pay subsidy. Let them tell us they're going to be paying subsidy. And they're going to be paid to marketers, let them pay to genuine marketers, and even pay the genuine, the confirmed ones.
I see you're
From
stressing
the
on
20,
genuine,
yes, because there's been a lot of fraud
even
when it has
as
to
at
do
now.
with
We saw
subsidy.
how there were reports in this current episode now of unregistered marketers, unregistered people going onto the depots now to get this product.
So, and when that is sorted, we now move to the depot owners angle, where those ones can, because when they get the products at the regulated price, they should be able to dispense or sell to marketers too at the regulated price.
Still on another sub-point now that continues to stick out now in this conversation now is the issue of distribution. Yeah. Also, I heard Mike Osatui in the discussion with him. He too also mentioned, that also needs to be sanitized, not just the Forex requests now by the marketers now, but then they're also saying widen the distribution chain. How do you assess this?
There's a lot that we need to do about the distribution. If we say we are one country and we don't want prices, we want petroleum products sold at the regulated prices, then we should do something about the distribution. If you go to depots in Lagos here, you have SSS officials, you have DPR officials, yet depot owners are selling to marketers at between 150 and 160. Some are even selling at 170. But to their own filling stations, at their own filling stations, they will sell at 145 naira per liter. So Nigerians will hail them as if they've done them a favor. But when they sell to fellow marketers who do not have depots at 150, 160, those ones will pass that burden on to the motorists, onto the average Nigerian. So they've not done you any favor. While you are lucky to go to their filling station, in fact, some are even ridiculously suggesting that somebody should replace Baru as a GMD because our filling stations sell at 145 naira per liter. But the depot owners, of which that fellow is one of them, are continually milking marketers. So when you make the marketer will in turn milk the consumer.
It's a
so
chain.
People don't see this. And they also make far more money from fleecing marketers who come to their depots to lift petroleum products than they actually make, at their filling stations. So this has to stop. They will give you two accounts. There's the official account where you pay to so that you can receive product. There is a separate account that you put money in. Otherwise, you will not be loaded. Abi?
Because I'm wondering, with the central bank,
the corruption is just too much.
But with the intervention of the current intervention of Baru now, waivers of port charges and all now, doesn't these atrocities, don't they get to be addressed?
Well, I tend to be worried too at times when I look at these things, when I don't know why some of these marketers and depot owners, I think marketers now don't want to really report these issues because, yes, exactly.
If there's the way they are now fleecing consumers.
Maybe they could get punished one and another way. I don't know how to explain, because I think there's this fear. I followed DPR to a station and they were selling for 200 naira, and they asked him, he said he bought for 180. They said, prove it.
Okay.
But the guy couldn't do it. He was even scared. Maybe they won't give him products again.
But this money is
maybe
on
he won't
record.
get again. So I
these
think
things are happening.
That is it. I think there is really the downstream sector of Nigeria's petroleum industry. There are lots of issues in that sector. There needs to be a total overhaul of that system. The movement of petroleum products, the products coming in, from the depot end to the corruption that exists in that sector, that angle of the sector.
It's difficult to find a decent person.
I don't know how
in that sector.
So what they do is it trickles down to the masses at the end of the day.
Right.
They buy it from the top, they pay big for it, no problem, they'll pay. But when they sell to us too, Some even go as well, they adjust their meters and they'll sell for you at 145. What about that?
And you
And
claim you bought
buying 10 liters
petrol, but
and they're
not
selling
knowing
8 liters for you.
You've just
so
been...
they have, so those ones even coming to say, I'm selling at 200 at times, could even be fair. They'll be selling complete.
Because they're giving you the correct quantity.
You see, there's a lot needs to be done. And that's part of what PIB intends to address. But how far have we gone with it? Interest. Nobody wants that bill passed.
Obi Ezekwesili is even recorded on the 24th to have tweeted now
Deregulation.
that the permanent solution to all this is deregulation. I mean, you both have revealed major atrocities in this, but is deregulation, okay, now we should be specific, full deregulation now, not partial deregulation. Is that really the way to go? Will this sanitize the system?
Oh, you see, if President Buhari tries to fully deregulate that sector, his government will come down. He must not try it. He must not try it. Because, you see, whether we like it or not, this is a product that God has given us. Paying subsidy on petroleum products is not a big deal. The people of Thailand, the government of Thailand pays hefty subsidy on rice so that their rice farmers can remain competitive. So if you say you want to do complete deregulation of that sector, a time will come when people will buy petrol at about 350 naira a liter.
You have no control.
Yes, because the price will be dependent on the price of crude oil in the international market. Once it's refined, it will even cost a little more. So are we now going to leave the fate of our people in the hands of the international oil marketers? No government. I'm saying any government that tries it. Any government. Because already now, even at the price we are buying it, it has driven up, the price that we are buying petrol, it has driven up inflation.
Yeah.
To unimaginable heights. Now, you can imagine what will happen. I was asking him yesterday, I said, imagine if petrol goes to $100 per liter. Crude oil. Yes, sir. Goes to 100 naira, $100 per barrel.
Just that it can crash, it can also rise.
What do we do? So imagine if you have full deregulation and it goes to maybe like 100 or 150 per barrel in the international market. Because we've been there before. So what are you going to do? So at this point, we are paying subsidy. But we are paying subsidy to NNPC. All NNPC does now is from the crude, because they warehouse money from crude oil sales. So from that money that they make from selling Nigeria's crude, they can pay this subsidy of 1 billion naira a day. So at the end of the month, when you are doing FAC, they will take what they spent as subsidy, because we are back to subsidy. We can't deceive ourselves. At the current price, we are back to subsidy. The only difference is that we are not paying subsidy to those fat cat marketers. Indeed. So NNPC, and we can only pray to God that God will intervene, God will get into the hearts of those civil servants in the NNPC, so that we do not block stealing. So that we do not block stealing by a category of Nigerians, and then it goes to
your nation. All right, still to come on Journalist Hangout, we will go deeper into the issue. Should the oil sector be deregulated or not now? We also hope to, get to speak with NUPENG's man now for their take on this issue. Stay with us on Journalist Hangout.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganouji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
Many thanks for joining us again on Journalists Hangout now for this segment. And a fantastic time to even bring in Tokunbo Korodo. He's the former Lagos chairman of NUPENG, that's the National Union of Petroleum Gas Workers. Thank you very much, Mr. Korodo, for joining us at this time. Now, you've been assessing the situation, well, from NUPENG now, all since the inception of this particular crisis. And NUPENG has been, you know, castigating Ipman, so to speak, blaming them for this current episode of fuel scarcity. Tell us more.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, we are not blaming Ipman. We are not blaming anybody. But as far as we are concerned, we have special regard for Nigerians. And we also resolve to work with this government, especially when we see the plight of Nigerians, what they are passing through, especially at this festival period. If anybody needs to be commended this time around, and I think it is the members of NATO and NUPENG. As everybody is enjoying their holiday, our guys, our members, they are stationed at every depot, awaiting their turn to be loaded, so that the suffering Nigerians are passing through will be reduced drastically.
All right.
So I can tell you categorically, the owner of the tankers make their tankers available. I will also make our members available. And I can tell you categorically, within the shortest period of time, within a few days, Nigeria will smile and see better sanity at the filling station. NNPC is trying to push enough volume. And the volume they are pushing, we are also on standby to ensure that the distribution is done evenly. We are working almost 24 hours. And the problem being experienced by Nigeria is not emanating from NUPENG or from our members. But we cannot put our hands and allow this our country. We must enjoy, we must join hands to ensure that things need to be corrected.
All right.
The policy makers have a lot to do.
Okay.
So let there be enough fuel at the depot at the right time.
Okay, we've been looking at the way forward now, so that the Buhari administration will not just be assessed on basis of fuel scarcity. This is not the first experience now that will be recorded in this administration. What's the way forward? How do we end this permanently?
Well, I think government needs to quickly work on our local refinery. Even I thought they even work on it. The capacity is not even enough to tackle the daily consumption. In this our country, we can't run away if we don't want Nigeria to suffer. We can't run away from importation of petroleum products. Other stakeholders, like independent marketers, major marketers, they are not even, they have no capacity to go into the business because of the Forex challenges and also because of the price of the international price. You know, any time there is any increase in crude oil price, the landing cost of petroleum products to Nigeria will be very, very high. And government is not ready to pay subsidy to anybody. And that is why you see those that are partnering with NNPC, they are folding their hands. They are not even supporting this importation thing. So the government needs to quickly do something. If government still want to continue, want NNPC to maintain the sole importer of this product, they should need to enhance their capability. So that before this one, like now, what we are seeing, it is the one they make preparation for, is what we are distributing now. And if we should allow this thing to be exhausted before they place another thing, we'll go back to square one.
One final question before we end this because of time. You came at the point where the guests in-house, the analysts in-house, were talking about whether the country should embark on a full-scale deregulation. What's your take?
Well, I have a very different position on deregulation. Personally, I'm not talking if that is the position of the union, but personally, because the kind of interpretation of government deregulation is quite different from some of us. Because the deregulation that will be an import-driven deregulation is going to be a very shameful thing to this country. Import-driven, it will continue to erode us a lot of goodies. It will lead to job loss. Why? Where we are getting this product from? They will be smiling to bank. Any deregulation we should canvass for this government should be based on local production. We are talking of, we don't have enough refineries, and we are talking of illegal refineries. What makes the illegal refineries to be illegal? Let you read the word high, and let it be legal.
All right.
Those guys that are on this illegal refinery, they should be brought forward.
All right,
Increase their capability and the technical know-how so that they can be legal. We need more refinery than the moribund one we have using in the country.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Tokunbo Korodo, thank you very much for speaking with us on TVC News. Journalists Hangout, in fact, Tokunbo Korodo, the former Lagos chairman of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers there. All right, gentlemen, Tululokwe, I want your take now. Jide doesn't support it, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, for
by the
very
way,
obvious reasons. Yes, it has, you know.
But then, are there no goods? And then
no, there are some positives. The market will be driven by demand and supply. There will be competition. You know, government withdraws all their services. They won't be involved in anything. They won't fix prices. They won't interfere. But Nigerians might take advantage of this. And just like Alhaji Korodo said, import-driven deregulation cannot help us because we don't control the price of crude oil. So we keep paying for whatever they bring in for us. And the marketers would also sell whatever they bring in. So one day you go to a station and they sell for 350 per liter. You will buy. Government, DPR will not be able to do anything because it's not government controlled. So only a local production kind of deregulation is what I think
when
will
that
also
becomes
work.
Full stream.
That can also work.
But not
under this present condition. There are positives to deregulation. Look at diesel. Look at kerosene. At times, diesel goes on the high side. At times, it's affordable. At times, you know, it's always like that, but it's available. You know, so kerosene too, one way or the other, the kind of deregulation for kerosene, it's not really clear. And that's why we're still having lots of issues with it. At times, government will come and say 50 naira per liter. Today they come. You know, so deregulation needs to, the kind of deregulation, we need to really look at it and understand it. There are some positives, but we have to be very careful because Nigerians take advantage of every opportunity they get to exploit each other.
All right, still to come on Journalists Hangout. Should President Buhari remain the substantial petroleum minister? Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit. Thanks a lot. Still Journalists Hangout. We're still on the issue of this lingering fuel scarcity. How do we end it? Interestingly, we have a caller all the way from Kano. Alhaji Ibe is an oil marketer. Thank you very much for joining us at this time.
Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
All right, let's have your bit now because of time now. Where are you in this argument of deregulation, the role oil marketers are playing?
Alhaji Idris.
Alhaji Idris. All right, carry on, please.
So I'm an independent petroleum marketer from Kano. I want to make a contribution. That is a point that Mr. Kolade Babajide said.
Okay.
That is, we have our unclaimed
legitimate claims, that is unpaid. That is from 2011 up to 2014, which is manual. Before the coming of Aquila, before that, we used to process our transportation claims manually. And right now they have changed it to Aquila. Those unpaid claims are not yet paid. They keep them in their petroleum equalization fund. So we are appealing to the government to look into this issue. And again, on the issue of this short in supply, this is largely from the government. We independent marketers, we don't import petroleum products. We buy from either NNPC or we buy from DAFMA. And that DAFMA, most of them due to Forex problems, they don't import products. They themselves, they buy from NNPC. So we are appealing to government to make a good planning, especially during the year ending, to the time where our brothers Christians are celebrating their Xmas. So we are making appeal. We are appealing to the government. Most of the people are accusing marketers of hoarding. We are not hoarding. And we independent marketers, we have more than 90% of all the filling stations in Nigeria belongs to independent petroleum marketers.
All right.
And there is need for government to give us more consideration, to give us more special treatment.
All right.
So,
Alhaji Idris, thank you very much. I'm afraid I'll have to end the call now. Thank you very much, Alhaji Idris. Your point is well taken. All right, Jide, time has, time is not our friend at this time. But still on this issue of deregulation now, we cannot have that, according to analysts, on an import-driven economy as Nigeria is in now. Let's bring in now this subtopic of what our local refineries are doing at the moment and the potential that is yet untapped.
No, at combined installed capacity, the Nigerian refineries should produce 440,000 barrels a day. Now, that would be enough for us. But unfortunately, those refineries are operating at like 25% capacity. Some of them are almost even dead. For example, the Port Harcourt refinery, between the year 2000 and the year 2012, there was no turnaround maintenance. So the equipment has gone bad. It's almost even obsolete now. So our local refineries are contributing nothing in the real sense of the word. I would want the NNPC to come out and tell us and be objective, tell Nigerians that, okay, this refinery, this is how much they are producing. In this whole scarcity, they've not come out to tell us that, yes, this is what we expect from abroad, but this is what Kaduna will give us, this is what Warri will give us. So nobody is telling Nigerians the extent to which the refineries are working. They've come up with a fresh bill of $1.8 billion for the turnaround of those refineries. I can tell you that in the last 20 or so years, we have spent more than 15 billion on turnaround maintenance and all that on our refineries. Whereas Dangote's 650,000 barrels a day refinery, which is one of the biggest in the world, it will cost Dangote about $15 billion to finish that refinery. So what we have been spending on turnaround maintenance that civil servants end up stealing the money, we could have used it to build a new refinery, a big refinery. If all that Dangote is committing to that refinery is about $15 billion.
And look at the amount of money we've
over the year, we are asking for a fresh 1.8 billion on antiquated refineries. Refineries that some of them were built in the 60s. The youngest among them is that second one in Port Harcourt that was built in 1989.
I think that's even the one that NNPC says was still, bringing, I don't know,
some of the equipment they inherited, some of the equipment that they used to build it, they inherited from Shell. So the refineries are not contributing much. That's why we are where we are. If the refineries could give us like even 40%, the money or the foreign exchange that goes into importing petroleum products will go down. Our country will be better. People will get supply. People won't be suffering the way they are suffering now. But those refineries are just there, like antique material that are fit to be auctioned in the open market.
So, look, we're still on this issue of, building or reviving our moribund refineries. And then there's this talk about modular refineries. And then, of course, all eyes are on the Dangote refinery. Everybody is talking about that. Just before we get that now, Joshua is joining us from Ogun State. Thank you very much. Please contribute.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Contribute, please. You're welcome.
Thank you. So my contribution is this. If Biafrans were able to exist by refining ordinary palm oil, palm kernel, and palm wine, and they were able to exist, why is it that Nigerians cannot be able to do a similar thing by the people that are working, that have got some mini industries at Port Harcourt, and many of them were born by central government? Why is it that the government cannot give a little chance to establish more refineries around? Why can't they give them a little chance, like I said it before, to open a new refinery that can help this country and solve this problem once and for all? All governments need to do is to set people that will monitor them to get the right production. That is all government need to do, and we'll be able to succeed. The federal government said we will eat what we produce. Why is it that we cannot allow our children to produce what we can eat in terms of food? That's just my question.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Tolulokwe, quickly now, let's end this issue of building local refineries.
Let's just allow private investors come, partner with us.
What's even stopping private investors more?
Well, I think there's not been a level playing ground for them. There have been lots of issues. Many people have been saying, don't allow them come, don't allow them take advantage. Maybe some of our policies, there's been a lot of somersaults. Look at our Forex policy. We are just getting out of all these challenges, recession and all of that. I think by now, with all the moves made by the Minister of State before Makanti Baru took over NNPC, I'm sure they should be able to synergize and make the private guys come in, put some money in this, and let's know how we work it out, 50-50, 60-40, whatever way it's going to work. But we need local production. That's just the way to go.
A final word from you, Jide, now, especially on this critical issue. Should President Buhari relinquish the position of substantial minister?
Yes. I don't see the need for the president to continue to hold on to that position. He doesn't attend OPEC meetings. He doesn't know so much about oil matters. So let him give up the position so that he can supervise them. He cannot micromanage at this stage. I can't imagine the president of America turning himself to oil minister. Let him invest his faith in one bright Nigerian, one Nigerian that he can trust, and let that Nigerian take up that job. It could be anybody. Nigeria has fantastic people who will do a good job. The president doesn't have to hold on to that position. Today, people are saying, "Oh, you are blaming Makanti Baru, you are blaming Kachiku." How about the man who is the minister? And I am, as a Buhari supporter, I'm particularly depressed because it's difficult for me. I know that the people that I put there should actually do a better job for the president. He has faith in them. But they are not doing it, they are not impressing Nigerians. And Nigerians can see that the president who is holding on to that position. So Nigerians are inclined to blame the president. So let the president give up that position to someone else who will have the time to do an excellent job. I don't think the president should continue to be oil minister. It's adding no value.
Tolu, can you afford 10 seconds now on this issue?
Well, I think I agree. He has too many things to attend to. Let him get somebody he would trust that will take on. That post is too sensitive. We need somebody that will devote all his or her time to actually fix it.
And who would the man be?
Well,
Nigeria, a country of 180 million.
Or woman be indeed.
Country of
That's why we
180
cannot-
million.
We cannot have a lack. We cannot have.
If we truly need someone to take that position from the president, we'll find that person. We'll find that person.
sector, we'll get.
Indeed, well, be it a man or a woman.
yeah.
Well, gentlemen, my boss once again, Mr. Otutoju, thank you very much for joining us this hour, and I'm all official at this point now.
Yeah, same here.
Tolulokwe, dear colleague, thank you.
Yeah.
To and folks, thanks a lot to you callers and all our esteemed viewers. We really appreciate you for keeping us company today. Of course, another interesting episode awaits you tomorrow. Please keep a date, but you can watch a repeat broadcast of tonight's show at 11, of today's show, I mean, at 11 p.m. tonight. And, of course, watch the program on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. We'd love to hear from you. Please link up with us on our Facebook feedback channel at Journalists Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.